Again, it's as we deal with all these technical glitches over this last year. So welcome again, everybody. So nice to see you here. Congratulations, incoming students that are in the class of 2025. I just wanted to show you really quickly where this whole thing will be posted. If you go to the Legacy High homepage, you can see that there's an Among Us tournament going on at Legacy right now, I guess. If you go to the Academics tab, and then you go to the Legacy 2000 tab right there, you will see that on the homepage of L2k, I will post videos, and I will down here at the very bottom of that page post this slideshow so you guys can find it. All right, so this is going to be our plan for the evening. I'm Jason C. France. I'm going to give you guys just a welcome, some shout outs, introductions, congratulations. Then I'm going to turn it over to our seniors so that they can give some speeches. We're going to just talk about information and mindsets about L2K, go over the contract, and then see if you guys have any questions. So this is always the first thing that I teach our incoming L2K class, and that is that capital K is the abbreviation for Kelvin, which is a temperature scale, and K, lowercase, is the abbreviation for kilo, meaning 1000. So when we abbreviate Legacy 2000, we always use lowercase k, okay? When we do L2K with a capital K, that's Legacy 2 Kelvin, which is really cold if you know anything about that temperature scale. So freshmen, incoming freshmen, this is your first lesson about high school. Make sure when you do L2K, use a lowercase k. It's not the end of the world. You don't get points docked on assignments for doing that, but it's just a nice little touch. All right, so to you, our incoming class, just know that we acknowledge your hard work over your K-8 schooling career. You know, you should feel very proud of what you've done in your schooling for the past 9 years that have led you to this point. We are proud of you, and we are super excited to welcome you guys aboard to the Legacy 2000 community. Our teachers, these are our current 11 teachers in the program. We have our 9th grade team, of which I am a part. We have our 10th grade team, Mr. Deedle, Gordon, and Klepak. 11th grade, which is Miss Dumas, Miss Shaw, and Mr. Espinoza. I guess I didn't say Miss Donovan and Miss Ledebur on the 9th grade team. And then the 12th grade team, which is Miss Benarowitz and Mr. Warner. Our teachers are amazing, you guys. We have really great teachers in this program. I'm going to ask also real quick, as I'm thinking about this, if anybody is a student and you're on with multiple devices, like you're on and your parents are on, if you guys would kind of gather around one device so we can maximize the number of people that we can get in here, because I think I have some people who are unable to get in the meeting right now because of that participant limit. So if you would please limit yourself to one device per family, I think that would help us out a lot here. So anyway, back to our teachers. Guys, teachers who teach L2K put in so much time, so much effort. They have passion for doing this. So much time, so much energy, so much expertise, and so much time. Teaching L2K comes with a lot of extra time investment. So the people that you see on your screen right now, they fully believe in this, and they have a genuine passion and caring for this program and for what it does for students. Special thanks to Doug Deedle, who is also always my biggest helper when it comes to the application process, dealing with all of the data and figuring out all of that stuff. And to Andrew Hoffman, who was the coordinator before me, who I always go to with any questions that I might have about anything. He's my go-to guy on that. All right, here comes some more people able to get into the meeting. All right, so our students, our current students in the program, here are several pictures going back, I think 5 to 10 years of just our students in the program doing fun things. You can see several pictures of Legacy 2000 students in their jazzercise gear and their togas in the classroom, working on projects and building things, you know, out on the weekend, jamming with their band. Our students are amazing. They're the lifeblood of this program, and they are what makes it so special. Here's some more pictures. You can see we get them involved. Top left picture is a group of students at Information Night, Application Night last year, where they're doing a Q&A panel. We've got some freshmen on the top right who are doing their Junkyard Wars build project. We've got some sophomores on the left doing some probe labs. And then on the bottom right, we have seniors meeting with freshmen in the classroom to review their upcoming speech and give them advice and mentorship on that. So lots of cool things get to happen in this program. You're going to get to experience them all. So along those lines, you guys want to hear from the real folks, right? Not the old guy. So our seniors in the program, we have 8 of them tonight who are each going to give a short speech on a topic or an aspect of their L2K experience or advice for you. And I'm going to turn it over to them and we're going to go through these just one at a time. So Zadie, you are up if you would go ahead and talk.
Awesome. Can everyone hear me okay? Awesome. Hi guys, my name is Zadie, and I'm going to tell you guys about why you don't have to be interested in STEM to be successful in L2K. So my primary interests are in English and gender studies, which neither of them are related anywhere near to STEM. That's what I'm going to study in college in the fall. And despite the fact that I'm not interested in STEM at all, I was really successful in L2K all 4 years, and it was one of the best decisions I've ever made to join this program. For me, I think the biggest thing that L2K had for me was teaching me how to speak correctly and well and professionally, which is absolutely essential in any career, whether you want to be an engineer, a chemist, an artist, or literally anything in between. Professional and public speaking skills are really, really important. Because L2K has you do so many speeches and so many interviews, it will really build up your speaking skills. Before I joined L2K, I was really shy and introverted, and I had no idea how to talk in a professional manner at all. But now I really love giving speeches, and I'm totally introverted, and L2K was definitely the reason for this change. A lot of people who aren't interested in STEM are mainly worried about not having topics to write about because L2K is so STEM focused. And although this can definitely be a struggle for a lot of people, especially during sophomore year, there are so many topics that actually do fit the requirements. For example, I gave a speech my freshman year about lightsabers, and then sophomore year I wrote 2 different logs about color, which were not super STEM topics, but they still fit the requirements and I was still interested in writing about them. L2K in this way isn't a STEM program like a lot of people think, but rather a professional preparation program that utilizes STEM in a lot of ways. Between job shadows, interviews, group work, and even just logs and speeches that you're doing research on, L2K will teach you so many different skills and has amazing opportunities no matter what you're interested in. It's an exploration of interests and an opportunity for growth regardless of what you're interested in and what you're going to be doing. And it's definitely challenging no matter who you are, but as someone who hasn't been interested in STEM since day one, it was absolutely worth it, and all of you guys are going to have such an amazing experience.
Thank you, Zadie. All right, we are going to move on to Leighton.
Hey, good evening, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. My name is Leighton Creamy, and today I'm just going to talk to you for a little bit about grit and a growth mindset and what I've learned about that through my 4 years in the Legacy 2000 program. To me, grit really just means having some resilience and being able to kind of face obstacles head on and push through them. And that's really similar to a growth mindset where you're constantly looking for ways to improve and to kind of push yourself and your work to be better. For me, throughout the Legacy 2000 program, I've really been able to start to establish these skills. These skills, I think the biggest thing you can take away from them is that they're helpful in all aspects of your life, whether that be athletics, academics, college search, relationships, or job hunting experience, whatever it may be. Having the grit to stick with challenges that may come your way or obstacles that may get in your way, and be able to say, I'm going to learn from this and I'm going to push myself to be better in the future is really helpful in being able to make you basically better overall. And I think that's what has led to a lot of my success so far throughout the program, is being able to start to establish this mindset and work through challenges that come my way. And I think one good example of that is my freshman year. On my first speech, I went into it feeling really good. And I ended up getting a 75 on it, which wasn't the grade I was looking for. But after that, I haven't gotten anything really lower than 90s, 95s on speeches since then. And that's because I've established my own grit and I've been able to work through and keep continuously improving. So no matter what you're good at right now, you're definitely going to face obstacles and challenging projects that are going to push your boundaries a little bit. But if you stick with it and you adopt the growth mindset, show your own personal grit, you're going to be successful in L2K. So I really wish you all the best. I think you all can be successful if you work hard at it. I think you'll have a great time in L2K. It's definitely been a wonderful experience. So thank you all.
Thank you, Leighton. All right, next up, we have Fiona.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fiona Spitzley, and I want to talk to you briefly about college. By joining L2K, you're already on your way to developing a strong college application, even if you don't know it yet. No matter if you think you want to be an artist or an aerospace engineer like me, being a part of L2K shows you some of the most important qualities for your college application, which is dedication and drive. Spending 4 years with this program not only indicates your ability to commit to something, but it also will develop you as a person. You are all already individuals who are going to go out and seize the day. And in L2K, you're only going to expand on that and learn skills that will not only distinguish you from your peers, but will help you to get ready for college. As an L2K student, you're going to develop writing skills that will make your college essays shine, speaking skills that will help you to ace your interviews, because yes, interviews are a thing you might have to do. And finally, you'll be pushed to gain experience in your field of interest. By completing both a job shadow in your junior year and then a career practicum in your senior year, you'll have clarity as far as what you might want to major in or not, and what careers you're interested in. But you also will have specific experiences to discuss when writing your college essays, which I found to be a great help when I was writing my own this summer. And this sort of leads me to my next point, which is it's never too early to start looking at colleges. In fact, your freshman year in L2K, you're going to begin looking at where you might want to go in a college study project, so you can make sure to create a 4-year plan that will match the requirements of the universities you might be interested in attending. Applying to college isn't scary. It shouldn't be stressful. In fact, you can do most of the heavy lifting the summer before your senior year. Being an L2K taught me the importance of starting things early, and applying this lesson to college applications was a lifesaver. It also allowed me to submit my applications earlier in the year, which meant that I could get acceptances to schools with rolling admissions before I was even a month into my senior year. Currently, I've been accepted into every school I've applied to, and I have over $140,000 in merit scholarships, which is pretty cool. So what are they looking for? Well, of course, grades and scores are important, but you already knew that. Perhaps you didn't know that leadership, involvement in your community, and dedication to your field of interest also matter. Luckily enough, you're already set up for success in that regard. As L2K students, you all have the drive to go out and do these things that matter, and the dedication to do them well. How do I know this? Well, my little sister Victoria is out there in the audience among you, and I can say with confidence, you're all ready for the daunting challenge of college applications, and when your time comes, you will absolutely nail them.
Thank you, Fiona. All right, we now have Krupa on deck.
All right, good evening, everyone. As Mr. Sanfran said, my name is Krupa Subramaniam, and today I want to talk about the age-old issue that I'm sure you'll hear at some point throughout the next 4 years, which is, why does L2K matter? Why are you taking it? It's not even an AP class. And sort of going along with that, how to go beyond grades is sort of the end-all, be-all mindset and goal of high school. And to me, at least, the way to answer these questions and address these issues actually involves taking a step back from numbers and the mathematical mindset that goes with calculating your GPA. Now, I know that seems a little counterintuitive for a program that has a pretty heavy STEM foundation, but to me, it actually comes from looking at the 2 key impacts that L2K has on every single person that goes through the program. And that first key impact is the skills that you're able to gain. Now, to me, at least, the beauty of the L2K curriculum is that it's largely self-created and self-directed. Obviously, you do have the parameters that every class does. You have to write papers, you have to do presentations, things like that. But in the end, you get to choose what you're researching for your papers. You get to decide what you're talking about in your presentations. You get to decide what you're investigating in the projects you're working on with other people. And because of that, there's a lot of opportunities for introspective reflection to really understand what sort of fields and areas that you're interested in. And it also allows you to create your own repertoire of skills. At least in my case, that came in the form of hands-on projects, ranging from learning how to program an Arduino to create a fully functioning prosthetic hand, to something like learning how to use computer-aided design software to create certain products that could be used during my internship. And because of all these hands-on opportunities that each person in L2K will be able to get from their very first year, you're able to develop what I like to call core competencies. And these core competencies will be extremely useful in anything you're able to do. As you just heard from Fiona, it's extremely useful when you're applying to colleges, but also when you're applying for jobs, when you're looking for internships, and also when you're trying to have a conversation with people that are well respected and fields you're interested in. Because you're doing so much hands-on research and things like that, you're able to hold your own in a conversation with them. And that opens up a whole new world of networking opportunities, which in my opinion is far more important than any AP test. And the other aspect of it, that other key impact that I want to talk about, is mindset. And to me, this is far more important than any of the skills you'll gain in L2K. The mindset that I see in a lot of L2K kids is we're really feedback driven, and we also don't really settle into a sense of complacency. Even when something's good, we're getting A's on projects, we're always trying to find ways to improve, find ways to expand further, whether that's taking projects to the next level by being more ambitious and asking more questions, or even trying to become more detailed and eloquent writer, trying to go through every single one of your papers and get rid of every single passive sentence that's in it. We're trying in so many different ways to take feedback from our teachers and integrate it into our own writing, both in L2K and in other classes. And I think the heart of why L2K is so important, despite it not being an AP class, and why you should focus on the learning in it more than the grade, is because of these attributes, these skills, and these mindsets that you'll be able to develop through the program. And the beauty of L2K is that those are developed. They're not taught. And because they're developed, they're going to stay with you for more time than just high school, than just college, and they're going to stay with you forever. And to me, that's why it transcends the importance of any AP class and high school grade. And so with that, I want to say congratulations for making it into the program, and good luck in the next 4 years as you develop these skills and mindsets.
Thank you so much, Krupa. All right, we are now on Kenny. Kenny, you
Awesome. Hi, I'm Kenny Hoare. I am another senior, and I think you've heard a lot of my colleagues talk about all the opportunities that L2K gives you and a lot of the skills that it teaches you. But I think another thing that I think is very important about L2K is the amount of choice it gives you. While yes, it teaches you all these skills, there are a lot of different ways to learn it. In your freshman year of L2K, you'll find there, I think, generally two kinds of assignments. There will be highly structured assignments such as time management or specialized concepts, or the college study project that Fiona just talked about. But there are also very unstructured projects such as your logs, most of your other speeches and projects that you do. And this basically means it's very open-ended and you can do almost whatever you want as long as your group is good to go along with it. For a little bit of background on me, I'm interested on computer hardware engineering and embedded software. Which is a very specialized thing, but throughout my L2K experience, I wasn't always able to focus on these due to different groups I had and different interests. And I think that's actually for the better because it allowed me to explore many different fields that I might also find an interest in. If you look at the examples of some of the projects I've done, the one on the bottom kind of shows me actually doing some computer stuff or working with sensors and Arduinos to monitor acceleration of earthquakes. But in the other two, one, I am growing algae to make algae biofuels in, and in the other one, we are measuring the turbidity of hot chocolate in order to see if it has any correlation to its nutrition facts. So as you can see, even though I have a passion for a very specific sort of thing, I didn't let different opportunities get in my way of what I could do in L2K, and allowed me to explore a lot of different fields, all of which are very interesting. So I think what L2K has taught me is that when you're put into a group project, try and find a group with similar interests than you. But if you're not able to, it's not the end of the world. There's always a certain part of a project where you're able to find something that you like to do. For example, on a sophomore year project, it was very programming, computer hardware heavy, but we also had to build a website. And like you just heard from Zadie, she isn't good with all the programming, that sort of thing. So she actually helped design the website and make it look good. And that sort of thing, which was very important to the project anyway. And so I think my biggest advice to you is go out of your comfort zone. Remember to have fun, because when you have fun, a project is a lot better. And congratulations on making it into L2K.
Thank you, Kenny. All right, now we're on Hope.
Hi, my name is Hope, and my best experience from L2K was my job shadow and my career practice in my internship. So you guys all know that your junior year, you get to do a job shadow, and your senior year, you get to do an internship. And I will tell you, it is the best experience you will ever have in high school, because it prepares you for things beyond high school, and you learn so much more about yourself than you would in any other circumstance. When I was a freshman, I had no clue what I wanted to do. And junior year came around, and I ended up job shadowing for the Laboratory of Atmospheric and Space Physics down at CU Boulder. And I was working under the Emirates Mars mission, which was working with the United Arab Emirates. And I helped to send the Hope spacecraft to Mars, which I can say successfully entered Martian orbit February 9th. And I absolutely loved my job shadow, but I know some friends who hated their job shadow. And so both of those experiences, I can tell you, are going to help you in the future because you are learning so many different things. Your communication skills are going to be so off the charts compared to everyone else. Your emails, you're meeting strangers, you're communicating with them on a different level than most of your other peers are doing. Your questions are huge. You want to ask as many questions as you can, and connections. You want to meet so many different people in your field of interest. So in the future, when you're getting into your work field, you've already met all these people. I'll give you an example. So some of you may know the Kepler mission, which has sadly ended 2 years ago, but the propulsion lead for that mission was working on my mission. And so she works for NASA, and I keep contact with her on a day-to-day basis. And we've talked about L2k projects, colleges, applications, and all those things are going to help me reach my goals in the future. And it's been a huge connection that has really helped me just because I kept in contact. Going into my internship, I continued with aerospace because I fell in love with it. And I worked for an aerospace engineering company called Moog, which is located in Golden, Colorado. And it was a completely different experience. I got to design a test payload, and a payload is kind of like a spacecraft with 6 different ports that have satellites with them. So when it gets up to space, the satellites release and it studies Earth. And it was completely different, but I still loved it. And that's what you want. You want these different experiences so you learn more about yourself. Oh, I like doing hands-on stuff. I don't like computer stuff. I can't sit still. All of these different things. So when you get into the work field, you've already done an internship. You have connections, and you get there and you're like, oh, I know what to do. I know what I like to do, and you're there. Moving forward, I am going into college, and I've been accepted into the CU Aerospace Engineering program. And since I have kept in contact with my job shadow, I've gotten to watch the launch, watch the spacecraft go into orbit because I kept contact. And hopefully, as an undergraduate freshman, I will have a paid internship at LASP. And it just shows how you can always be the best self you can be. And L2K teaches you to do this, especially doing both of these internships and job shadows will help you be the best you. And I have no doubt you will all do great things in the future.
Thank you so much, Hope. All right, so now we are on Kate. Is Kate
Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name's Kate Lampo, and I'm here tonight to talk to you guys about maybe the non-L2K aspects of L2K, right? How else can you get involved in high school? Can L2K students really do it all? And I think if the answer to the question of can you manage tons of stuff was no, then my speech would be very boring and very short. So I am here tonight to tell you guys that you can do it all. You can get involved and still be really successful in L2K. I know many of the students here tonight speaking with me are student athletes and are in tons of clubs and have leadership roles. And I know we have L2K students that are in band or in musical or orchestra or super dedicated to community service. We have kids that kind of do everything, right? I personally have gotten super involved at Legacy. I'm on our robotics team and an environmental club and class leadership. I run cross country and track, and I'm in a couple of our honor societies as well. So I've found stuff that I really enjoy that I wanted to get involved with at Legacy, and I totally took advantage of all of that. And I think that's the key when we're talking about, managing all this stuff alongside L2K is you have to find your niche and you have to find what works for you, right? I would strongly encourage you to try things out your freshman year. You can't really mess up. If you see a club that interests you, go to a meeting. And if you hate it, you never have to show up again, right? Freshman year is that time to test stuff out and figure out what you really want to get involved in and kind of develop those interests. I would argue that L2K students that do get involved, whether it be in school or out of, in sports or clubs or whatever, are more successful than those that don't, because I think it gives you a much needed brain break, right? You guys are here tonight, which means you've probably faced academic rigor your entire life. You're driven students, and I know that you will continue to take difficult and challenging classes, both L2K and otherwise. And so I think getting that mental brain break with things outside of your academic academics is really, really important. You will have to learn to manage your time, which I'm sure every adult in your life has told you recently, and I know it's really annoying for me to be telling you that too. And L2k has a project that'll help with that your freshman year. You will have to learn to manage your time, but I'm here to tell you that it's totally possible to figure it out. You can have a social life too. You'll meet a ton of cool people through L2k and throughout high school. And so my one piece of advice is to enjoy it. You know, cliche to say it, but your 4 years, the next 4 years are going to whip by. So bottom line there is it is possible to do tons of stuff, get involved with whatever you want to do, and make the most of it. You guys will succeed, I have no doubt.
Thank you, Kate. All right, and now for our last senior speaker of the night, it's Nathan George.
All right, hi everyone, my name is Nathan George. I just want to say this is probably one of the coolest signing nights L2k will ever experience. I know it's not ideal, I know it's a little unexpected, but it's going to make a really good story for your senior speech in a few years. So let's look at it that way, I guess, you know. So I just kind of wanted to talk to you guys about making the most of L2k in high school. I'm going to be adding on to what my colleagues have been saying earlier and just kind of give another perspective of it too. Now, when you ask high school seniors how they feel about high school in general, you'll usually get one of two responses. You get the people who are just ready to graduate, ready to get out of high school. But then you also have the people who are excited for graduation, but definitely will miss their high school experience. And I sincerely hope that by the end of your 4 years, you will fall in the second category, because I think that just shows you just made the most of your experience. And so how can you do that? One of the things is think outside the box and really be able to make any project that you do your own, whether this is L2k or a different subject. Even if you're not passionate about the specific subject in general, to be able to be creative and to make something your own, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. And like we've been saying throughout this night, the more you enjoy what you're doing, the more you're going to just enjoy and do well and succeed, right? I have a couple examples of this. Kenny talked about the logs and how they kind of become a choice project, and I'm interested in music education, and so that's not your typical STEM career, but to be able to take a non-STEM field and make it a STEM topic is a very valuable skill. So I would write logs on the mechanics of a piano or the physiology behind singing and things like that. One of my favorite speeches I gave freshman year was a group project where we tried to figure out how long it would take for Santa Claus to realistically deliver presents to children in Broomfield. And so we took statistics of Broomfield, how many kids there were per household. I got to be the milk and cookie time trial guy, so I got to eat milk and cookies for research purposes. And so just different things like that. Really take each assignment that you get to do and make it your own. And that goes for L2k assignments, that goes for any assignment. Really have fun with it. And that can be hard because ultimately it's a mental shift, right? It has to come from within you. You have to be motivated within yourself to do that. So I really encourage you, try and do that, because it can make a world of the difference. And I guess one other thing to supplement that, and my second point, is just to have a community of people around you, and that can be done through extracurriculars, that can be done through your classroom. For me, I found my specific community in athletics, in theater, and in L2k, who gave me that academic support that I needed through that too. And so really finding your community, because ultimately you may enjoy what you do, you may not enjoy what you do, but I think we can all agree that when you're with people that you enjoy, everything just becomes that much better. And one of the things I learned this past year in one of the classes at Legacy is that you may not be passionate about your work, but your passion can definitely follow you wherever you go. And so being able to take your passion into whatever you do, even if you're not passionate about what you're doing itself, it can be an extremely valuable asset. And so I really recommend that you do that. And kind of like everyone else was saying, you guys are here. Congratulations. Give yourselves a round of applause. Give your family a round of applause for helping you get here. And you guys have so much ahead of you, and I'm so excited for you. So I really mean this when I say have fun, good luck, and if you need anything, we're here. So congrats.
Thanks, Nathan. Okay, so now we're going to get into sort of experimental phase of this. As I've said before, I released a video. Q&A can be sort of hard in a Zoom environment, especially with 100 participants on here. But if anybody has anything that's like a follow-up question for something you heard one of the seniors talk about, you can put that in the chat. You could unmute and we can try to get their feedback on that. I'll give a few minutes in case anybody's typing. And if you don't have anything, that's fine too. If you have a follow-up that you'd like to send me via email, I can definitely forward it to any of these seniors.
So I think there's one in the chat that I can go ahead and take.
Oh, there we go. I see.
How do you find an internship? So there's two, I guess, networking opportunities that you have in L2K. In 11th grade, you have your job shadow, and then in 12th grade, you have your internship. I think most of the seniors up here would agree that it's a lot easier if you get it out of the way during the summer before. So get the 11th grade job shadow done during 10th grade summer, and then the 12th grade internship done during the 11th grade summer. So for my job shadow, at least, I actually reached back out to someone I had interviewed for a log during my freshman year. And so that's why it's really important to build those networking connections that way. It's because I had reached out to him for the log. We'd had like a pretty nice conversation. And then I actually reached out back to him again. And then I was able to do research at his lab over the summer. It was a neuroscience lab. But in terms of an internship, I tried to reach out to people with more cold calling and emails and things like that, but that was when the entire world basically shut down because that was at the beginning of the pandemic and stuff. And in terms of a support system, L2K did a really good job of giving a bunch of different opportunities for people. I actually ended up getting my internship at Medtronic through that crowdsourced list that they had. So it of course requires you, and this is a networking skill that you'll be building from your freshman year, but it requires you going out and talking to people. But L2K does have a support system that you can fall back on in a sense if you need to.
I can go ahead and answer Corey's question. My interest definitely changed. I originally wanted to be a teacher for the deaf, and then I didn't want to be a teacher, and then I wanted to go into medicine. And it all changes based on what you're doing, and kind of don't be scared if your interest changes. That's okay. Nothing's permanent. And I didn't get into like your job shadow and your internship will kind of help that, because then you learn like, oh, I don't want to do that. So it's really all these projects and like watching other people do all these things. You're like, oh, that's kind of cool. It was actually my sophomore L2K teacher that got me into my interest. So don't be afraid. Interests definitely change. I mean, I think a couple of my other colleagues, their interests changed as well. It just depends on what you want to do. Just don't be scared if your interest change. Nothing's permanent. But yeah, my interest definitely changed.
I would also add on to that there. I think some of you are probably out there sitting there having no idea what you want to do with your life, which is a totally fine place to be in. And I think some of you probably also maybe have a better idea of what you're looking forward to. I think my kind of progression through L2K was a little unique because I went from knowing exactly what I wanted to do. Freshman year, I walked into Legacy and I was like, I am going to be an aerospace engineer. That is the only option for me. And as I kind of went through high school, I realized that I had a lot of interests beyond that. So while I think L2K is great for narrowing down your interests and kind of honing what you're, looking to do in the future, I would also say don't feel a ton of pressure to have an end-all be-all decision at the end of high school, right? L2K will obviously help, but I think it's also a time to maybe broaden your interests and develop some of those if you're in the position of knowing exactly what you want to do right now.
I can go ahead and take the next question, which is, what do clubs look like when in L2K? And I think that the best answer is whatever you want them to look like. That L2 or Legacy just has so many different clubs out there that you can join, whether it's like environmental club or competitive video gaming club or like Model UN. There's so many opportunities for so many different interests out there. And I think you can really make it look like whatever you want it to. And if you're really interested in like actually shaping what a club does or something, then I'd say definitely run for leadership in one of the clubs if you're really passionate about it. For example, Kate Krupp and I are all co-presidents of the NHS at Legacy. And what we've been doing, like you just saw, is been putting together a giant Among Us tournament for the entire school. So I think really if you want to be ambitious, you go for leadership, but you can make clubs look at like whatever you want it to, whether it's, being ambitious or just having a nice place to relax with other people who share the same interests as you.
Thank you, Kenny. All right. Well, it looks like that's all the questions we have for now. Again, if something comes up later, you guys are always welcome to email me. I think it would be great to give the seniors a round of applause. So everybody unmute. Let's try that. You guys have just heard from 8 of our best students, but literally we could have had 80 mini speeches tonight, with seniors giving you their diverse experiences and their diverse takes on the power of L2K and what they got out of it. So seniors, I really appreciate your time tonight. You guys at this point can choose to stay on if you're really interested in seeing this again. If not, you can drop off. I might be able to let a few other people get in here. So either whatever you want to do, it's fine with me. And I'm going to continue with my little aspect of this. I do see a question in the chat that says, do you have to take world language or music beyond freshman year to have a 7th-hour period? Yes, that is the rule as you go through. I think they've also allowed Stugo to be a part of that 7th period deal. So thank you guys. Thank you, seniors. Really appreciate your time. Okay, so one of my big things that's sort of like one of the lurking reasons why I teach this, I love the education that we foster in this program. I love seeing what all of these students told you about their experiences and what they learned and what they got out of it. But one of the coolest things is just watching the sense of family that students get out of being in this program. After spending just freshman year, you will see students making such tight connections with each other because they've gone through, we'll call it the pain and suffering of learning how to ride a log, right? They've gone through working in group projects with each other, having fun in class with each other. And they build this really tight-knit community. So this is last year's graduating senior class. I hope that we get to maybe have some, well, there'll probably be more socially distanced pictures of this year's senior class at some point as well. So super, super excited about that as part of the program. I'm getting some things happening in the chat. I will try to answer those maybe near the end at this point. So here's the quick program overview. I've got a lot of questions about what do we do in the program. Freshman year, we lay all of the foundational pieces. Freshman year can feel like that sort of drinking from the fire hose because you're learning how to do everything that we are expecting you to do with a ton of support. So how to do research, how to do technical writing, public speaking, the group work, the time management, the networking, dealing with technology. Hey, that's been extra big this year. Problem solving, response to honest feedback, which students don't get a lot, and then exposure to rigorous expectations. So it's all of that sort of pouring the concrete that's laying the foundations for all of the things that you're going to do starting in sophomore year, where you get into working with professional science, running labs that you design and then reporting out as a team to the rest of the class. Lots of engineering and lots of self-discovery. So sophomore year is the most hands-on year of the 4 years. Then you get into junior year, you start doing those job shadow experiences and start thinking about college. Continue thinking about college, and then wrap it all up with senior year where we do the internship, also branded the career practicum, really focusing in on college. You're writing your college essays, you're getting feedback on those, and then really thinking about your career or careers that you might have ahead of you. And I thank you, Kenny. I see Kenny's responding in the chat as well. So I always talk about this in the November sessions where we're getting ready for applications and people want to know what this program is about. And I say, here are the students we're after. Well, I feel confident after having gone through all of the essays and all of the data analysis that it's not just the students we're after, but it's now the students that we have in the program. All of you out there in this Zoom session wondering what high school is going to be like, here's what we hope that we have in you. We hope that we have students who are prepared to invest and willing to accept constructive criticism, passionate about STEM and learning in general. As you learn from a couple of the seniors, you don't have to want a STEM career, but hopefully it's at least an area of interest for you. And then you can start diverging from that when you're ready. Students with good character who are respectful. We do hold our students to a high standard because they get more freedom around the school than other students. And so we really want students with good character who are respectful, who treat each other and the adults around them with respect. Ability to solve problems and overcome obstacles. One of the big things that L2k is designed to do is to be a different learning experience, to challenge you, to make you grow. And so we want students who actually like relish the fact of here's an obstacle that I need to figure out how to overcome and solve the problem. Obviously, you got to be pretty good at school. You do not have to be the world's greatest super genius to be a success in this program, but you have to have some intellectual promise and be willing to work hard. And then the sort of like lurking variable here is you have to want to be an L2k, not just want to be at Legacy. And so I hope you're doing this for the right reasons. I hope that you really are interested in doing the things that the seniors have put out there for you, they've explained to you, and that you really are excited about being in Legacy 2000, not just at Legacy High School. Legacy High School is a great school, and L2k is a great program within that school. All right, so here's the nitty gritty. This is the contract that you will be signing tonight. Okay, we're again going to have to do a little bit different method of signing this contract. I'm actually going to send you all a Google form that I'm going to have the students log in with their accounts to that Google form and read through this contract and basically just click a button that says you've signed it. Once we're allowed to hand out papers and pens and everything, we'll actually get you some paper copies of this and have you actually sign it. But for now, you're going to sign it by clicking on a Google form that is going to count for your signature. Point out a couple of key points about this. One is just the things that we expect the students to do, and that is maintain satisfactory citizenship and attendance in all your classes. Usually not a problem, right? We have really great kids in this program. So we're talking about making sure that we're not getting written referrals to the office and those sort of things. Again, never a problem. Maintain at least C or above in all your classes. If something happens and you happen to receive a D at any quarter mark, you would have 1 quarter to raise it back up to a C or higher and have all of your grades be C's or higher by the end of that next quarter in order to remain in the program. Again, usually not an issue. Sometimes stuff happens and a progress grade is put in or a student has a D or an F. We're usually able to work with those students to get them back in good standing in the program. And then just, you know, students follow the rules, all the guidelines set forth in the District 12 Rights and Responsibilities Handbook. And then the sort of part of it that comes with that territory, you are committed by signing this contract to remain enrolled in the program for 1 year. So it's a 1-year commitment. We hope that it's a 4-year commitment, but you realize that this is sort of a long haul sort of thing to get all of these great outcomes from being in Legacy 2000, but the contract is for 1 year. So you are committing to that and we will make it work for you. If there are struggles that happen during that year, we promise that we will work hard with you to make your first year be a successful year and a rewarding year for you. If you either opt out of the program between freshman and sophomore year or get removed from the program during freshman year and you're not in Legacy High School boundaries, you would go back to your natural home school at that time. So those are some of the key components of that contract. So here we are. We are so glad that you guys are in Legacy 2000. Not officially yet, but pretty close. All you gotta do is click a couple of buttons. So a couple of important reminders before I send you guys all that contract stuff. First off, there's 8th grade information night that's happening Monday, March 8th at 6:30. That's a virtual event. I will be there as a math/L2k representative. So if you guys have any detailed questions about scheduling at that point, I know that different schools are at different points with that. I would like to also take this opportunity to just remind you, I sent everybody a video earlier today that I made about a lot of the Q&A that I had gotten in advance. So right now, if you haven't seen that video yet, that video might be answering those questions for you. And so I would encourage you to go watch that at some point in the next couple of days. There is going to be a freshman orientation in August for L2k students. We are hoping that we get to do this live in our auditorium with everybody there. We'll see what happens between now and then, but watch for a letter in late May, early June about that freshman orientation night. where we kind of walk you through a lot of the details. We really hope that you guys, between now and that August start point of the school year next year and beyond, consume some, okay? Expose yourself to good quality things. I've got some things in this presentation coming up here that are just, some recommendations, a minor list of recommendations that L2K teachers have said are good things to read, watch, and listen to. I would encourage you guys to all join our Facebook page. So if you just put Legacy 2000 into the search bar of Facebook, you will get a locked group. It's a private group. If you just type in there like new L2K or something like that, I will approve you and get you in there. It's kind of interesting to look back at that Facebook page. It's been running for about a year and a half now. So you can look back at some of the cool things that happened in normal school days from last year and things that we're hoping that we get back to for next year as well. So here are some recommendations. Again, I'm not going to read these all to you, but there are lots of good things to read. And our librarian, our school librarian, did a really good job of curating a lot of those things. So on the LHS library page are a bunch of L2K links that she puts out there for students just to immerse themselves and expose themselves to different sorts of STEM ideas. Some good books. Some of these are sort of philosophy books. Some of them are science books. Some of them are just kind of fun books just to spark interest. And so I would encourage you guys to read some of those and just see what sort of ideas they spark within you. Another list, just things to watch, get on YouTube and watch some science videos, watch Nova, Cosmos, the good stuff on Discovery, right? Not the faux science that's on there. Movies, those can be a great resource for just sparking ideas. Just things like Mythbusters, right? A lot of times we do like little Mythbuster type things in L2K as well. Things to listen to, oftentimes just putting on a podcast and listening to those things can be great idea starters and things that spark the imagination and make you think like, I think I'd like to write a log on that, or I think I'd like to give my speech on that. So here's a few that are in my playlists that I listen to pretty regularly. And again, there's lots of good stuff out there. Another piece of advice is have a little, what's called a commonplace book. This is sort of a historical thing that a lot of people have used, and it's basically just your idea notebook, okay? And what a lot of L2K students do is they go get like a Moleskine notebook, and it's sort of like a special fancy little notebook that they have that's theirs, that they keep all of their ideas for things that they'd like to explore, that they'd like to write logs on, that they would like to give speeches on. They keep tabs in there about all of the things that they have that are ideas about those things. One of the things L2K asks you to do is to have your own ideas about the things that you're researching and not just regurgitate information, but actually show your critical thinking about it. Something like this can really help with that. Something like this can be the thing that you put on your bedside table that you, when you wake up at 2 a.m. because you were dreaming about your log and you had an idea for your further development, you can write it in your commonplace book. And that would be a suggestion I would put out there for you as well. So what success boils down to, we have our mantra in L2K, and that's yoga whoopee, which is you only get out what you put in. A lot of students who really love L2K have found that the secret to loving it and getting the most out of it is to invest in it to get the returns back on the back end. Perseverance. L2K is designed to be challenging, not overly challenging, but to throw you guys for some loops and to make school seem different to you. And so we ask that you have a mindset of perseverance. We ask that you are able to react and recover from setbacks. Leighton talked about his first speech grade not being what he had hoped for and how he recovered from that. That is exactly the learning journey we want you guys to be taking. And then genuine interest and curiosity. We want students who are genuinely interested about the world around them and curiosity about that world. I often say during those application nights, that what I'm looking for is students who can harness that 2-year-old that used to sit in the car seat in the back of the car and just ask their parents, why? Why is the sky blue? Why does the snow look like that? Why, all of those sort of things. Harness that old kid you used to be when you were 2 and have that genuine curiosity about the world. Positive attitude can go so far. I think what you saw from our seniors who spoke tonight were students who are just positive. They're outgoing. They look at the world in a way that you know that there's nothing that the world can throw at them that they can't react to and overcome. And then willingness to take the long view, willingness to realize that in October you might not like L2K. In January and February, you might not like L2K, but you will like it if you stick with it with a positive attitude, and you will start seeing the forest for the trees that emerges after being a student in this program. What it all comes down to is your mindset. 8th graders, you have the power to control how your life goes and how you feel about the world. And so having a positive mindset and having a positive outlook on these things is going to be huge for you having a good experience in the L2K. I love what I'm seeing in the chat. There is a lot of going back and forth from seniors who are answering questions that have gone up in there. I really appreciate you seniors for doing that. So here's my last analogy as I think about how L2K is different than the other parts of school. You know, you got this sort of classic, and it's a cliche, right? What do you see the glass as? Well, classic thing is the pessimist sees the glass as half empty. The optimist sees the glass as half full. And then there is the one added onto it that the scientist says the glass is full. It's 50% water and 50% air. And I came up with the L2K student who sees the glass and says, I need to figure out how to fill that glass. And so we want you to think differently. We want you to be problem solvers, and we want you to have a great high school experience with L2K as a component of that. So congratulations. It is time to sign. So I am going to take this little Google link right here. You might be able to just click on it yourself. I'm going to put it in the chat to everyone. I would appreciate it if the students would log in, because it's going to collect your student Adams 12 email address when you log into it. And then it's going to ask you to carefully, super carefully, retype any other email addresses that you might want to provide to us, so that when I'm communicating with you over the next few months, we're getting ready for August, that I don't get as many bounce backs as I currently get, and that I don't get as many missing emails. So students and parents, do this together right now. Make sure that the emails are accurate. The link to the contract is in there as well, or the actual picture of the contract. And by clicking yes on that, you are committing to signing that contract for the year. And then there is another one where you can just put any other questions that you might have at this time. So this, by the way, this gift is of my freshman class from about 10 years ago. So these kids are all, some of them probably have kids of their own right now. So anyway, super excited. I really appreciate you guys being